For those of you that are dealing with elbow positions, your bow elbow position, and dealing with keeping it in the right place, I've got a good one for you today. So if you're one to hyperextend your elbow and bend it in seemingly unnatural ways, whether that gets in the way of the string or bending upwards while you're at full draw, or you're dealing with an issue where you lose your elbow position, put it in the right place, but as you draw back, you lose it, or maybe you get back to full draw, and upon expansion, that elbow rotates and continually moves. If you're dealing with that, this video is for you.
You're watching the Kaminski YouTube channel.
So I've been coaching a fair amount of people lately that have been dealing with elbow rotation issues and hyperextension, both of those cases, not in the same case, in different cases. And it's just been a bit of a struggle for me to figure out ways to explain on how not to do it, other than simply saying, well, stop doing that. Because it just doesn't work, because some people can't control it genuinely. And after talking with my wife, Heather, we came up with a plan, and I'm gonna share it with you here in this video. Quickly, the best elbow position to be in at full draw would be if you were to bend your elbow while at full draw. Not literally, don't do that of course, but if you were to bend the elbow, your forearm would be parallel to the ground. So the elbow would be in this type of position. Many people will end up in this type of position. If you were to bend your elbow, the arm would go up. That is not the strongest position to be in. I have plenty of videos covering that. I'll put one in the link in the description below and a card at the top up there. In case you want to look at that and see how to control this elbow rotation a little bit better. But what if you can't? Because normally my answer has just been, well, just control it. You got to learn how to do it. So I asked my wife Heather, hey, I'm having a lot of problems explaining this to some people. It's just not sticking. When I say don't do it, it's not that easy. They just can't not do it. It's continually a struggle. And then on top of that, how do you deal with that crazy hyperextension of an elbow where it basically looks like they're like this at full draw with that elbow bending upwards because they can't put it in the correct position because it would hyperextend so much that the string would constantly hit the arm. So I'm like, how do I deal with this? How do I encourage people to stop doing this? I need to give somebody a plan on how to not do it. And she did a little bit of research and gave me some things to share with you here in this video on how to help control this bow arm. It's very different. It is going to require a bit of strength training, but it's not very intensive. It's very low impact, and I bet you just about everybody out there could do it. If I was having trouble with a hyperextending elbow, or if I was having trouble keeping this elbow in this position and it was constantly rotating up that way, what would I do? I would do these following exercises. All of these movements are about the same type of movement. It's called an eccentric movement. Eccentric is the reduction, the lowering of the weight, basically as you're finishing up your contraction. This is a concentric movement, I believe, and this is the eccentric movement, the movement going down. And so specifically, in order to control this elbow problem that many people deal with, it is the eccentric movement that you need to do in order to get the body strong enough, get the ligaments strong enough, get the joint space tight enough, and get the brain connection to the muscles firing correctly. And it will actually help you control that muscle, control that elbow particularly. So what you can do is you can actually, if you don't have dumbbells like I've got here at my feet or a pull-up bar here behind me, I'm going to show you variations on how to use those correctly. But you can even do it without any sort of weighted implement, even without a stretch band. And you can actually just put pressure into your hand, come up into a contracted state with the bicep, put that elbow and anchor it against your side, and then take your other hand and push down against that, but slowly control it on the way down. Roughly for a 4 count before you get to full extension. Maintain that pressure all the way down. You can switch sides, contract, and slowly reduce it down for roughly a count of 4. Now, I would probably, if I was new to this, I would probably start in this manner to get the control of that. And I'd do probably sets of 8. 8 on the way down, and then just come back up, 8 on the way, again for counts of 4, rest, and do that probably 3 sets a few times a week, and I would probably start to see some progress relatively quickly. So the first variation, like I said, it was that without the weight, just add the static pressure in the hand. I don't really like the stretch band, because as you go further down, it's getting weaker and weaker. And I don't think that would be necessarily ideal. So outside of just resisting myself would be to pick up a set of dumbbells. These are just 15 pounds, not very heavy. And actually, if you're used to lifting weights, although I suspect people that have this issue are not typically lifting weights in my experience at least. Now, if I had never worked out before, I may not be able to do this. Absolutely, I wouldn't be able to do this. And I'd have to do something much lighter. So over there on the floor, I'm not sure if you can see them, there's 2 and 4 pound dumbbells. Or potentially I'd grab a can of soup, something like that. And basically come up into your contracted position. Again, elbows anchored against the side of your body. And slowly lower for a count of 4. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. Okay, come back up and do it again. Now, how many of these I would actually do is somewhere between 8 and 12 reps for about 3 to 4 sets, give or take, depending on the day. And I would do this a few times a week until I learned to control the elbow and gained enough strength and shortened my ligaments enough. You know, the common issue with young people is that their joint space is so lax, their ligaments are so lax, and their muscles are not developed, which is absolutely healthy and normal. However, in order to have that control of that elbow, the awareness of it hyperextending or not, and the awareness of this position in space, you have to have a decent connection from the brain to the muscles. This slow movement helps strengthen that connection, and it strengthens the muscles. When the muscles get stronger, the ligaments get a little tighter and shorter, which tightens up that joint space, which prevents that super ultra hyperextension, which is super common. Okay, now we're gonna do it one more variation, which I believe is the best way to do it, but it does require a bit more in the way of equipment, and that is behind me here with a pull-up bar. So I'm gonna get the camera reset, so I'll be able to show you what I'm doing there. So now doing it on the pull-up bar, I'm gonna do actually a chin-up because that isolates the biceps far more than a pull-up does. Chin-up is with the hands and the palms facing you. Pull-up is with the hands and the palms facing away. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna get up on the bar and I'm gonna do a chin-up. If I was to the point of where I couldn't do a chin-up, I would use these here, something else to actually maybe a chair to get up there so I could get into the flexed arm position and do basically a start of a flex arm hang. But then again, my goal would be for a count of 4 to slowly and controlled lower myself down. I would do that as controlled as I possibly could. At the beginning of doing this, it may be very difficult. That's where starting with static pressure, dumbbells, or something along those lines may be the best way to go. And that's potentially what I would have done if I've never done this type of thing before. But you can essentially either use, these are squat rack safety catches for doing squats. So I could use this to actually get up into a flexed arm position like this, and then slowly lower myself down, or I could start from the ground here and pull myself up. Whatever I was capable of, that's where I would start. For the most part, and at least for this demonstration purposes, I will hoist myself up with my legs to do the vast majority of the work, because essentially I want to focus again on the eccentric movement, not the concentric movement, not the actual compression and actual squeezing and firing of the muscles, but a controlled extension on the way down. And you'll notice it's definitely going to require me to work much, much harder, and this is why I've saved it for the end. It is the best way to do it though. This is the strongest way to do it for a multitude of factors. And as I'm doing this, I'll get into that as well. So I'll start here, shoulder width apart, roughly, give or take, get flexed in the flexed arm position, and then slowly 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. Lower myself down, I can pull back up. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. And slowly, controlled, let down. And just do this several times. And what this will do, again, it's connecting the brain to the muscles. It's tightening those muscles in the right way, strengthening those muscles in the right way, tightening the ligaments in the right way, and ultimately is going to lead to me having better elbow control and should help prevent that hyperextension over time. Now, some of the benefits to doing it on the actual pull-up bar are more so than doing it with dumbbells or the resisting of myself. The main one is grip strength. That's also a contributing factor to controlling this elbow position, because controlling the elbow has to do with a few different things. Tricep, bicep strength and balance of the two. Brachioradialis controls the rotation of the forearm, which also would control the rotation of the elbow, and then also flexion strength, grip strength as well. So that's why I really do like doing it on the pull-up bar, doing chin-ups and slowly lowering eccentrically for roughly a count of 4. Doing that, like I said, between 8 and 10 reps, 8 and 12 reps if you can, 3 to 4 sets a few times a week. It would make a huge difference if I was really needing some control of that elbow. Again, like I said, I didn't know how to handle this. I didn't know how to approach it because everybody that's been coaching has been struggling with this. Not everybody, a lot of people struggle with the elbow rotation, whether it be rotating on execution, whether that be as they draw back, the increased weight makes that elbow rotate up, or they have that hyperextension elbow, which I can't do, of course. And so I was looking for a solution, and Heather helped me out, and turns out this is what should help. So finally, I have a solution to help some people out with if they're also dealing with that too, because I've just not found it elsewhere. I've not figured it out, and luckily I've got Heather on my side, and we can come up with some really good creative solutions to problems that are fairly common in the archery industry.